possible,
Almost
Chris.
guaranteed.
Okay. Well, we're not exactly in the shot here, but you know what? I think we're okay.
Close enough?
Yeah, I think
Close
so.
enough for a 10 o'clock
Yeah,
show?
for Shooting the Breeze. Hey, everybody, it's Matt, and we're at Texas Toast Guitars. And we didn't know exactly what we were going to do. I was running a little bit late today.
Mm-hmm.
I was on the phone when I walked in.
And then we talked about a bunch of stuff. And the next thing you know, it's 10 o'clock.
But yesterday's video. Okay, so here's the part where I have to go. It's time for Shooting the Breeze with the TTGs. So let's start shooting.
Was that Shooting the Breeze?
Sure, why not?
Shooting Drew Breeze. What the heck?
I don't know. I don't know. So yesterday's video is being very well watched. And clearly it's the title. You know what I mean? If I'm okay, so
you used all the keywords.
Yeah. Why you should never, Paul Reed Smith, Gibson Fender. Here's Ask Me How I Know. Here's why or whatever. But I wasn't trying to fool. I don't think that was a clickbait title.
No.
You might not. There are people who probably didn't like. When we're going to get to this, didn't like the content for whatever reason. But it wasn't like I was trying to fool anybody. So last week we did all of our Shooting the Breeze series with where we talked about what the best guitar you can get for
a certain dollar amount.
Yeah. And Brian got it wrong every time. Brian's right over there, so yeah.
So he's going to take a clubbing today.
Everybody that played along, I had fun with it.
I think it was fun thing to do.
Yeah.
I hadn't looked at a lot of guitars in some of those price ranges. Still haven't looked at a lot of the guitars in those price ranges.
At the end of the day, though, I was kind of disappointed and I thought this wouldn't be the case. I was kind of bummed out by what you could get for a lot of money.
Yeah.
And I think a lot of the people watching were kind of bummed out too. Like, well, one guy said, I really like the Fender USA Jazzmaster or whatever, but they don't offer it. They only offer it in these colors. And I'm like, if I'm going to spend that kind of money, I want to get exactly what I want.
Sure.
Or, I wish I could get that with I can't get that with humbuckers. I can only get it with P90s. Nobody said that, but it's hard to get a Les Paul Junior double cut shape with humbuckers. I realized Juniors came with P90s, so it's tricky to get one with humbuckers. So there's a lot of stuff that's like, well, I want this, but if I spend $2,000 or $2,500 and it's not exactly what I want, that seems like kind of like a bummer.
Right? Yeah. I think we sort of messed up on the one day when because I think ultimately our cap was what, $2,000.
Yeah, and then we're like, whatever
you wanted to spend. We should have set that one at like $3,000. Then we might have been able to buy or find something that was exactly what we wanted. But you would think for $2,000 you could get almost everything that you'd ever want.
And I would imagine that 99% of the people who buy guitars could get exactly what they want. But I think that the people who watch our channel, Chris, are interested in that 1% stuff. And so what I heard from you guys was almost universal. You want a custom instrument. You want something that's tailored to you. Yeah. You want something that's not the same as everybody else has. That shouldn't come as a surprise, right? That's what we do, and that's what you guys watch us for. So yesterday I made a video about all the great classes that we have coming up, and Chris, I don't know if you saw, if you went and looked at the website.
I didn't look at the website.
There's got to be 20 new classes. So we added, hey, let's take a super chat from Brad, who says, for the money, you can't beat any of the TTG models. My level 3 is killer. Thank you, Brad. It is killer. Doug says he's going to have to drive back out. Doug, we miss you. I wish you would drive back out. 3J Music, good morning, afternoon. Eric Luttinger, hey. Okay, so everyone's talking back and forth. Jeffrey Egan's talking. I'm getting a phone call right now. I can hear my pocket vibrate. I made the video talking about all the new workshops that we have. So we have a BC Rich neck through workshop. We have a Les Paul Junior double cutaway and single cutaway workshop. That's the same one. We have a new Jazz Master workshop. We have all the new essential neck building, essential bodybuilding, and even an essential neck through levels 1 and 2. We have super strat, regular strat, telly, build a classic fender. That's, and all these different levels are happening. And I really wanted to let you guys know about all the new stuff. There's a ton. It took Joy and I like better part of Saturday getting it together.
Oh yeah.
Joy even added if you're so smart, come up with your own workshop. Remember, like that's kind of what Andrew St. Pierre did. He came out and rented the shop for a week. A couple of guys even said, "Hey, I want to come out and build some super tellies. I have to send them emails." And then we also have Chris's mystery class, which is cheap. I think it's $7.99 because you get 5 days in the shop, a body blank, and a bunch of rules that you're going to make. Right? Remember when Brian was giving me grief?
All the help you need. All the help you want.
Even more than you.
Very little. You got to bring something.
Yeah. Well, so you have it in your
what you're making.
I can't see in your mind.
Create from within.
But but like Brian was giving me grief about being king of the Odyssey Beer Works Pinewood Derby, which I am, and so this is actually going to be your thing.
Yeah, you can't make a standard shaped guitar. You have to design from within. It can be very standard looking, and everything else, but it has to be some new unique design. So
Big Fit says he wants all the guitars and he wants super tellies, and I can't blame him. 3J Music says completely true about wanting something a little more custom. After 30 plus years, I'm bored with production guitar. Pretty soon, if everything was homogenized, everything would just be a Squier Strat, probably, right? I mean,
one of the funny things about that is, I think every old school company now makes more guitars models than ever before. So much so that sometimes you're like, well, what's the difference between this one and this one?
Yeah.
And yet none of them strike my fancy. From one end to the other, you're like,
So I made the video yesterday, and there's a lot of people watched it because of the title, and hopefully someone will come to one of the classes, or hopefully a lot of people will sign up for the classes.
Yeah.
But I was surprised at how much politics came up in the comment section. And so that's what we want to talk about today. And there's a bunch of super chats. Hopefully you guys are steering the conversation towards. There was a lot of things. One guy said something to the effect of, "Too bad you're an American company. They're stopping Canadians at the border." Only he said your YOUR, not. I guess they don't know about apostrophes in some places.
Well, yeah.
But that's the crux of the biscuit, as Frank Zappa pointed out very succinctly in the song. So, and in case any of you are wondering, go buy the apostrophe album, which you should have anyway. But lots and lots and lots of politics stuff. And I got to, I talk about being bummed out. I'm like, why are you guys making cool guitars politic, the political footballs, hot buttons? Let's take a super chat from my buddy Richard Ryan, who says, "Thank you both for addressing the topic of tariffs. When I've heard other guitar channels address this topic, it was only with the view of the larger guitar companies, about which I could not care less." Richard, I hope that you are doing well, and we're going to talk a lot about that. Thank you for the super chat, my friend. Paul Hall says he's keeping it ad-free, and he's looking forward to coming back over here in August.
Right.
Yeah, that's going to be fun.
Seeing you, Paul.
Brian Duncan finally gets it right and says, "All hail King Matthew and ad-free rule." Brian has finally figured out that all I ask is that you obey me as if it was the word of the Almighty King.
Just kiss your ass.
So, yeah. Okay.
It's only taken, 3 years?
Yeah, it's only taken 3 years.
Yeah, a relatively short amount of time.
I'm slow.
Paul Hall says, "Love what you make and make what you love." Robbie F says, "Gibson doesn't make the LP I want. AAA top Cherry Burst LP Studio P90s and no pick guard." Well, I mean, we don't have any Les Paul workshops scheduled right now, but I would like to do those again. And we I don't see why we couldn't do that guitar. So I've seen a lot of people like get on the internet and bellyache about tariffs. And I'm not going to name names, but one of them is in California. And he's like, well, we're going to have to, I didn't want to do it, but I think we're just going to have to raise prices because the tuners, and he's an American company making all of his guitars in America with like a bunch of American parts, except the tuners for one guitar. Now, I don't know how much these tuners cost. Let's say they cost $200.
Okay.
So do you think he's going to raise his prices $50? I'm looking at the guitar. I'm like, that's the only thing that's like, they'll have like trims that are made in America, pickups that are made in America.
Pickups, yeah.
It's what he's got American employees. And I'm like, why are you just raise your prices and you don't have to explain it. You don't have to make it about, and he didn't say, I hate the current administration or whatever. And these tariffs are good, bad, or whatever. He didn't say that, but it was a thinly veiled.
Well, and the kicker is then there was the 90-day pause. He didn't retract it. He didn't go, oh, thank goodness. Well, at least for 90 days, we don't have to raise prices. We don't have to do anything. This will give us some time to maybe, work it out, think about it. Didn't do that. Just,
Further into that end, his guitars I think they start at $4,000. Mm-hmm. People who buy $4,000 guitars don't care if they go up $50.
No.
And so I
think $100 or $200. There's a lot of companies that are using the threat of tariffs to raise prices, even though they have a supply of stuff.
I'm glad you brought that up because I would have spaced it out. Ike came in on Friday, and you said basically the same thing to him. Go into detail about that.
So let's just take cars.
Okay,
you can actually look it up. How many days on average a dealership has a car? How many days worth of cars they have on that lot? I think the average is 48 days. So for the next 48 days, that place has cars. And for them to raise the price today, betting on the price tomorrow or in 48 days or whenever they start getting more of them in, not that they only get cars in every 48 days, but that's kind of the idea. That's just kind of crappy, using this idea. We're going to raise, we have to raise prices because this stuff is going to take off. Are they going to lower the prices?
No.
When that stuff goes away? No, they're not.
So
I've seen that over and over. Remember when oil got really expensive? Cost of rubber went way, way up. It never came back down.
No.
Even though a year later, oil was back down to a normal price.
So Ike was saying that he's going to have to pay more to get whatever guitar is ostensibly going to be tariffed one day. But everybody else is raising the prices now in anticipation of it going up. So the guitars that they have in inventory, they weren't tariffed, but
and they were going to raise the price of those guitars regardless. Using that as the excuse for it, rather than saying, well, cost of labor has gone up and cost of this has gone up and cost of that's gone up, which it has. And prices always have to go up a little bit. His main one was Fender, and Fender kicked their own ass a couple years ago when they raised prices a whole bunch. They actually did bring them back down, not out of the goodness of their heart, because they stopped selling guitars.
I think a lot of people forget though that this is a business.
It is, and a lot of companies have a lot of shareholders, and really it's not even business, it's investment. And you have to make money on investment. Otherwise, you're not going to invest in that anymore. You'll get into something else, and that'll really put the hurt on that company.
So do you think that a bunch of guys on the internet commenting on videos is going to alter the trajectory of world economic and global business policies to the point where I mean, evidently there's a bunch of poor Canadians who can't get across the border right now because of tariffs, which doesn't make sense to me, but it's been a long time since I was in civics.
I have known, I'll be honest. Yes, I do think that a bunch of people on the internet will make a difference. Just like this video will make a difference.
Yeah. So anyway, let's see
I've known about Canadian tariffs for a long, long time. We have several.
Wait a minute. So that means like products going into Canada?
Okay. Get tariffed. I think it's 25%, 35%. I forget. Doc told me.
Is that because of Fender?
No, and it's not because of the U.S. government. It's because of the Canadian government.
Oh,
I also
okay.
know about Australia, and Australia is like 40 or 45%.
Yeah.
They do not want products coming in from other countries.
Okay.
So much so that they have, all but, priced everybody out of that game unless you really, really, really want that thing. And that's just, that's
do you think that's why it was so hard for like guys in England in the 60s to get Strats and Les Pauls?
There was some sort of trade embargo there that ended in 60, I think. But
and they all had to play those terrible Burns guitars.
Burns.
Yeah. Okay.
And other things. Yeah, and there were a lot of German guitars that were there too. There weren't tariffs on German-made products like there was on American-made stuff. And that's the way it's been worldwide for a long time. That's what all of this is really about. It's just leveling that whole trade playing field.
Well,
that's
I don't
as political as I'll get.
Okay. Yeah. I mean, so much of this is like that's just the way it goes.
And the funny thing about all of this is, the media has done, and the government has done a really, really bad job of explaining what all of this is and what all of this is designed to do.
Okay. I'm glad that you did that, because what happens then is dumb people start to worry about, like this stuff that like, well, okay. But I think about it on this Challenger right here. How much, what imported parts are on this? I think the tuners are imported, but like we don't pay, a astronomical amount for those tuners, even though they're some of the greatest tuners in the world.
Yeah.
But like these are DiMarzio pickups. These these are
Godos. So
I know. I think
Japanese.
Is this a Godo, or is this a okay? Yep. Where are the
Tone Pros?
Tone Pros. Are those Godos with holes drilled in them?
Yeah, I think they are.
Yeah.
I could be wrong about that.
But like this wood is I mean, talk about wood. The Honduran mahogany is something that we've been paying for, more for mahogany. That if not, we'd use alder. If it was a really big deal, we'd use alder, or we'd use ash. And we sometimes use that stuff.
Yeah.
That maple probably came from, I don't know where that came from, but I think that's from Michigan.
Yeah.
The King Blackwood, I can absolutely tell you, came from Africa. And sometimes it's called African Blackwood.
Yeah.
It is neither. However, the original lumber is not black. It's not even brown. But yeah, there's so much stuff on there. The inlay material came from here. The frets came from here. The wood came from here.
And so far, from my perspective, from ordering parts from the people that we get parts from, zero price increase.
Yeah.
Nothing's gone up there. I don't believe the Hipshot stuff has gone up. If it does, it'll be what it is. It's not like it's going to double the price of the guitar.
No. It's not even going to double the price of the tuners.
No. And so, yeah.
Okay. Robbie F says, the 10% minimum tariff is still in effect on all imports. The 125% Chinese tariffs are also in effect. The later is affecting U.S. pedal manufacturers on PC boards, pots, etc. Okay, that may very well be, but do you still love using those products? Do you still love? Is Squire something that everyone's gonna? That was another thing I got. Oh, I'm gonna keep my Squires. I sure do love them. There must be a bunch of like 13-year-olds watching that video, but I don't think there's anything wrong with Squire, but I also don't know anyone who's got discretionary income that is wowed by anything that says Squire on it.
Yeah.
So that's not a political statement. That's just kind of the way it is. Hey, Chris, I'm 55 years old. Do you want to see my Squire Strat? I'm really asking. Yeah. What does that bring to the party, right? Okay. What about my Fender Custom Shop Strat?
Sure.
Yeah. Then you got something. Okay. So, so I don't know why people are making guitars political hot buttons. I don't care for it. But
guitars, as we've seen, aren't an essential thing that you always constantly need to be buying.
Yeah.
And
well, I think they are.
Well, yeah. But I mean, really, it's you don't need a guitar to live. You probably already have a guitar. You can live with that one for a little while if that's what you need to do.
I don't know. I don't think Big Jim Fitz is going to be able to live without a bunch of new guitars. Prove me wrong.
That's something. It's not food.
Okay.
So, yeah, don't stop making guitars not fun.
That's right. 3J Music says, unfortunately, I've not even wowed anymore by anything that says Fender, and I love Fender style guitars. Yeah, I think that once you get a taste of something cool and special and unique to you, then anything that you can get that looks even remotely like something that anybody else has is less fun.
Yeah.
So anyway, well, Chris, once again, we didn't come to the bottom of anything.
No, we did not solve the world's problems today.
Nope.
Maybe tomorrow.
You never know. So will you be joining us the rest of the week?
No, I will be gone Tuesday through Friday.
Okay, so I will probably do some videos for you guys. I have no idea what we're going to talk about, but they should be fun. And thanks for hanging out with us. Richard Ryan says, stop making guitars not fun. Please keep using that expression. And Joy says, great t-shirt idea. I think that is a great t-shirt idea. So, well, we've got a bunch of work to do because it's a fight to keep the doors open. We got to do it. Right. So, Robbie's bummed that you're not going to be here.
Sorry.
I guess he feels like you don't deserve any time off.
The funny thing.
Do you get to take any vacation, Robbie?
Yeah. This is a job and you're allowed to take time away. And I don't really take that much time off.
Yeah.
Especially for the tenure that I've been here for.
Mm-hmm.
If I was working for UPS, I'd get probably 6 weeks a year off.
Probably.
At this point.
Yeah, there'd be profit sharing and 401k. You make squat.
We have profit sharing. Yeah, we shared profit.
Wait a minute. That would imply there was profit.
When there is profit, yeah. So
all right, gang. Well, we're gonna sand it today, and we're gonna ship some guitars today, and we're gonna be anxiously awaiting you guys signing up for these classes. What's the class you're the most excited for?
The Jazz Master class should be fun, and the BC Rich class will be a hoot.
I think I'm on board for the BC Rich one and the Les Paul Jr. one. I think those are going to be the ones I'm looking the most forward to.
Yep.
And Chris's mystery class. But you and I both know nobody's going to do that.
Sign up for that.
So okay, all right, guys. We will see you tomorrow for something, and have a great night, day.